Hello and welcome to the No Excuses podcast. I haven't done any notes, so this might be a bit messy, but in less than 2 hours' time, Tom and I need to leave the house to go and get our COVID and flu vaccines. And I want to podcast today because I can't tomorrow, and then we're moving on to Friday and it's another week gone. So, hello and how are you? How have you been? It's nearly 3 weeks since I last spoke to you, unless you watched the D-Stash video. And I want to say a big thank you to everybody who bought from me, asked questions about the stash. Most of it went. I've got a couple of things that are left, but, you know, they didn't go. I may put them on Instagram at some point. But thank you very much indeed. I know overall, you know, I sold them at a fairly competitive price, I think, and it helped to sell. So, yeah, I'm pleased. Thank you very much. And the other thing I wanted to mention is I have given a £100 donation to the Stroke Association. Excuse me, I have got a bit of a frog in my throat. And I will show you I saved a screenshot of the donation, and that was all down to you buying my charity bags. So thank you very much for that as well. I haven't really introduced myself, so if you're here for the first time, I live in Worcestershire in the middle of England with my husband Tom. And if you haven't seen the D-Stash or you're not on Instagram, you may or may not know that we lost our staffy Bertie a couple of weeks ago, very suddenly. Well, he'd been getting poorly, a bit more poorly, over 2 weeks. We'd given him, he'd had a jab that was supposed to make him a lot better, and we can't say for certain whether that made a difference, but he seemed to be in slow decline after that, so we were ready to let him go, but he decided to go a bit sooner. That was fine. So we miss him, and it's not very nice. And then to add to that, less than a week later, I lost a school friend to, let's get all the sad bits out of the way first. I lost a school friend to cancer. She started at my boarding school half a term before me, and she ended up marrying my friend's brother, so sister-in-law, so always knew what she'd been up to. Didn't see her very often, met her a year ago, and I probably put pictures up of that at the time, and she looked very well, very, very well indeed. But unfortunately, you have got no control over this sort of thing, and she became very, very poorly, and again, she passed away a couple of weeks ago. Her service is a week on Friday, so I think that's going to be quite sad. When it's somebody that's only your age, you know, she was just 63. She's a month older than me. So, not nice. So let's leave the sadness behind and work on happiness. I tend to be more of a positive person, I hope. And we have got a finish today, a nearly finish, because it's sitting right next to me. No, it's not nearly finished. The body's nearly cast off. Told you this was going to be messy. I've got a little bit of ink coming, but my mum's ran off with some of it, so I can't show it you all. And yeah, and what I've been up to. But I am doing this without notes, so I might scribble things as I go along, just so that you can, so I can edit it and put proper notes on YouTube. Bear with me. I will announce the mal winners at the end. So we've got the flat mal and we've got the smash the stash, and they will be announced at the end, or towards the end, before I talk about where I've been and what I've been up to. But I want to announce another mal, which is going to be Craft More in 24. Sorry, I've got a very, I don't know why, get in front of the camera and my nose starts itching. Am I allergic to the camera? I don't know. I doubt it. Yes, it's going to be Stash More in 24. I'll put the Instagram tag up on the page on the screen, and I've also already started a group in Ravelry. And this is because it's not necessarily knitting related. What I realised is that, well, I know, I've talked about it before. I pick up my knitting because it's so easy, and I do my knitting nearly all the time, and sometimes I do some crocheting, and I've been doing a little, I make my bags, and I've got this blouse to cut out, which is definitely going to be started at the weekend to cut out. Mum's cut it out, and I'm going to sew that to wear. But I've got all these other things that I want to have a go at, and unless I force myself to do that, it's not going to happen. So from now until about this time next year, so although it's going to be 2023, most of it's going to be in 20. I've named it. Starts in 2023. I've named it for 2024 because the majority is going to take place next year. What I want to do is I want to divide the year up into 6 2-month chunks, roughly, and this is assuming I start something before Christmas. And I want to have a go at different crafts, preferably those I've not done before, or I've only really dabbled in slightly. For instance, there's cross stitch. The one I really want to have a go at first is hand quilting, machine quilting, sewing more clothes for me, and there's needle felting, which I'm not going to be good at because I think you do have to have some level of artistry for that, and I can follow a pattern, but I'm not sure about making faces look any good on needle felting. But we'll have a go. I've got the things. I've bought kits and stuff to do all these different crafts, but I never get around to doing it. I've started a cross stitch of a lovely Celtic design. I've got a beautiful French inspired cross stitch that I bought with some money that my sister gave me for my 60th birthday, and so that was 3 years ago now, and I've not touched it yet. Why not? What else is there? The needle felting. I've made a list in my book for the podcast, and I just want to have a go, and if I don't force myself, I won't do it. So what I'm saying, if you want to join in, it may be that knitting is something that you pick up and put down, but you're mainly a cross stitcher or something. I'm just saying, let's have a go at something a bit different, and it can be anything. It can be pottery, it can be metalworking. You might want to make a set of gates, to keep people out, or so it can be anything you want. And yeah, let's join in. There are a couple of I'm sure there's a couple more that I can't think of offhand, but for instance, one of the first things I want to do is hand quilting, and I bought a kit from Emma Jones, the lovely Emma Jones of Vintage Sewing Box, at least 2 years ago, possibly 3 years ago, and it's her hexagonal needle kit or storage case, and I've got that in a box in the wardrobe, and I need to, and I want to have a go at making that up. And I think I might start with that because it comes with all the instructions and everything's cut out for you, and I should be able to pick that up and work with it. So yeah, I'm trying to perhaps set myself a goal to get that done by the end of the year. But it's all, and of course, the other mail we've got running is the jump along, so that'll run to the end of March, and again there's a Ravelry thread, and I'll put the hashtag up on the bottom of the screen for this year's jump along, and that is any adult size top. It doesn't have to be, it can be a vest if it's worn outside, the clothing, like which is sort of on trend at the moment, but not a cami that you'd wear inside, if you know what I mean. Something with a bit more substance to it, or it can have any length of sleeve as long as it's an adult size. It could be cardigan, jumper, T-top, you name it, because we all got different seasons depending on where you're watching from. Don't make much sense today, then it's the lack of notes. But I need to crack on and get this done. Now, that's the males dealt with, and I'll announce the winners in a little while. But now we'll move on to the knitting, and I have got some photos to show you of Tom's finished blanket. This is a mitered square blanket using mainly minis or ends of skeins I'd got anyway, and it's a little bit bigger than mine. I did it with a 40 stitch square. Started out with 40 squitches then, and I've edged it with an I-cord because I was getting fed up of it. Now my my blanket was a 30 stitch. No, sorry, let's start again. My blanket was a 40 stitch. This is a 60 stitch, so 30 on each side. So it's each square is 1.5 times bigger than mine, 50% bigger again. So I've done the same number of squares as mine, roughly, I think, but it is that little bit bigger. And instead of on mine, I did a nice garter edge with an I-cord on it. But I was getting fed up, so I just did an I-cord, and Tom wanted it anyway. He's fallen asleep under it the last 2 nights. It hasn't been washed, it hasn't been blocked. If we have a nice day, I'll pop it in the washing machine, because it's just done with, most of it's superwash merino. There may be an occasional single in there, but I don't think it's going to fall apart if it's associated, if it's next to another superwash merino, being held double throughout. I am talking gibberish, and if it wasn't for my pressure to get this done, I'd just start again. It weighs a massive 1,338 grams, which means it's got 5,000, well, it's 5 kilometres, 352 metres. And Tom says that's over 3 miles. I didn't actually do the maths to see what it was in imperial, but that's quite a lot of yarn, and it's quite heavy. And I'm pleased with it. I'm pleased off the needles, because, as you know, I put it in the loft over summer, got it out again, and then that's it. Then I wanted to get it done. I love knitting blankets, and I'd like to do some more, because I've still got lots and lots and lots of minis, and I don't know what to do with them really. I've got lots of. I took down the crochet blanket I'd given to my mum, which was granny squares. So I've got lots of crinkly bits and pieces. That was single ply, not held double or anything. So I've undone all that. Some of that's gone into Tom's blanket, but I've still got a lot left over, and I've got a couple of bags behind me of crinkly wool. I'll go and get it. I don't know if you can see in here because of the lights. But this is the crinkly stuff. And I've started making magic balls, and I've undone them, and I've separated the pre-used wool from, and it is wool, from the the stuff that hadn't been used, was just end of a mini or whatever, in the magic balls. And I've undone one of my magic balls. Don't know where the others are offhand. And I thought I'd knot these up together, reskein them, wash them and hang them outside to dry. Perhaps not with weight on them, but make sure they're not overly spun, so they've got a bit of weight to them as they almost drip dry on the line. And then I'm thinking of doing a blanket where a bit like the 10 stitch log cabin. I like the idea of having tiny little squares, but I don't know what I've got to start with. I'd have to see if these were sort of an average. Do I want to do tiny mitered squares? I don't know. It would look lovely, I think, but I'm not sure. And also I need a lot more than just these. I have got a lot more than just these. I don't want to buy any more minis for a bit, but I've got Advent coming for Christmas. yeah, not sure what to do, but I am going to straighten them. I'm going to have a go at getting the majority of the kinks out of them, and then there will be repurposed. And I've also got some bags. I've got some really nice colours that I put together that would go in the minis, and I'm thinking they would make a nice top or jumper. Basically, I've got too much choice, and I sit there, I get all the minis out, and I look at them, and I'm thinking, because I got them all out for Tom's blanket, they're all in one big bag as far as I'm aware. I might have a few more in the wardrobe, and then I get fixated on looking at things to do with the minis, you know. So what I've done is I've put, apart from the ones that need uncrinkling, I've put them in the loft. Well, Tom has. Tom's put them in the loft yesterday. I've taken photographs, just a rough idea, through the IKEA bags, which are slightly tinted, just so I know roughly what's in the loft. I haven't weighed them or anything. And then I know what bag they're in and where they are, and when I've decided what to do with them, I will tackle them. But one of the things I wanted to do, and I'm looking around me again, was I did an advent swap with Jane, who no longer podcasts. I don't know whether she watches anymore, but if you do, hello Jane. And she's a lovely lady in Scotland. Used to have a yarn shop as well. Did a yarn swap a couple of years ago. I'm going to go and get it. Right, this is the bag that Jane made, and she included in the advent swap. And it's a lovely long bag that is chock full of minis, but it's also got in here a rather big ball of fluffiness. It's got a pouch in with instructions, and what I intended to do 2 years ago as part of Angie's 12 cast-ons, that must have been in 2021, I was going to do advent, use Jane's swap to make advent stockings to put on the wall, and then the perpetual so I can refill them. If I keep disappearing off the edge of the screen, I'm sorry. I've put it on narrow view, so it may be that I'm just talking to you from the side, and if I see that's the case, I'm going to have to record it again. I've got two types. I've just did those are in the same wool, little sparkly purple, and I just thought I'd do one set trimmed with the fluff, and then one step, I think that's just an I-cord top. And I've got all these lovely yarns, mixture of wools in here that Jane gave me. You know, that wasn't probably from Jane at all, but lots and lots and lots of different wools. And the instructions, just to let you know where the pattern's from, is I think it's a free pattern actually, but it's called it's the Jean Greenhow design. So Jean Greenhow's mini stockings. I haven't got the whole pattern here, but I think I will link it because I got it off Ravelry, and she shows you, doing stripes and things. Well, I can mix and match as I please with these. But I thought my idea was, when we were going to do the craft store last year sometime, was I'll make one set for me, and then I'll sell another set, because they're a perpetual set now. I'll still knit them up, and I'm going to try and make this my evening knitting from now on. If I can do a stocking or two stockings a night, then that'll be good. They're knit flat and they're seamed, I think, at the back. I'm not sure, can't remember. And they're knit on a 3mm needle, so they won't take too long. And then I can go and get some celebrations or heroes and shove a couple in for every day. I don't think I'm going to bother putting numbers on them, but yeah. And then I'm going to see if I know anybody who wants a stocking advent calendar. Maybe somebody with children. and at my age, getting to grandchildren, isn't it? So thank you for that, Jane. It hasn't been forgotten. I've had it next to me for ages and ages, thinking, oh, I'll just knit a stocking, and I just never seem to get round to it. And I think it's because, well, I can't remember how to do it. It's fairly simple. And it's one of those things that once I've got it into my head, I'll be knocking them out the park. I know that I've made them slightly bigger. Looking at my, what I've written on the pattern, I've made them slightly bigger than the pattern. Because obviously, Tom and I have to share chocolate advent. But last year I made him an advent, and in a cardboard one that I got from Hobbycraft, but that sort of fell apart, otherwise I would have used that again. And I wrapped in bits of Toblerone up and put in individual chocolates, and I got him some marzipan as well, and so every day he had like 2 or 3 sweets to open. So that will become my evening knitting from today or tomorrow, because what I'd hoped to do is cast off the body of my Elton, but because I'm running out of time today, it was raining this morning and I got up at about 6:30 and didn't take any tablets, went back to bed, didn't even hear Tom get up at about 7:30. So when he came out the shower a bit later, I was like, oh, looked at the time, 9:15. So I then had to take the tablets, let them kick in before I could get in the shower. And basically, because it was raining, it was really dark earlier, the rain seems to have passed now, I felt like I couldn't move. Let my tablets kick in, and once I got in the shower I felt a lot better. But it meant that basically I was only just dressed by noon. And I know it doesn't matter, but I find it frustrating, especially when I've got plans for the day. I could lie in bed all day sometimes. The thing is, when you're lying in bed, well, for me anyway, I don't know if other people with arthritis as well, you're lying in bed and you think, oh, I can't move. Once you start moving, you feel a lot better. And the drugs do help. Especially the strong ones I'm on. Now, back to the knitting. I don't know what I was telling you. Oh yeah, because I wanted to finish the cast off, which I've started. And it is flanging out a bit, isn't it? Right, this is my Elton jumper by Locatelli, and I believe that is the back there. That's the front. You know I can't hold things up. I haven't done the biggest size. This looks plenty big enough. And it's basically been done in Beautiful Variegated by Bird Street, a fluff. That's how prepared I am. What they are here. What's left of my yarn so far. I do find when you knit with Suri alpaca, that goes a long way. Right, that, can't remember the name offhand. I'll put it on the screen. That's, I started off the shoulders, and then I've done stripes of 4 rows of that, followed by 4 rows of this, which is from Cheshire, hand dyed, and it's got very similar colours into that, which is why I chose it online, and I was really pleased with the, how well they matched. And then 2 more rows of that, and then 2 rows of this, which is Figgy Cloud, I think, also from Bird Street. Now, the other colour I bought from Bird Street was this one, and again, I can't remember the names between these two, but I'll put them on the screen. So I've done as long as I think that I want it, because I don't want it too long. I want it cropped-ish. when you've got low slung boobs, then you want it to at least cover them, because otherwise I can think it can look a bit odd. So I want it to cover my boobies and without riding up over them. So I've done about 12 inches, 13 inches after the armhole, and it's a drop shoulder, so that should be plenty big enough. And then what I've done is I've done a 1x1 rib for 10 rows using the same needle with those two, that as a purl, that as the knit. And then I've brought in Forager by Lay Family Yarn, because that goes really well, and I thought I'd run out of wool, which obviously I'm not going to, with that as the knit and that as the purl for 6 rows. And then I've done another rib row with just that, and now I'm casting off with the Forager, and that's the effect I've got. And as try as I might, I cannot get a cast off that I like. I did think about doing a folded hem. I may have done a rib that's a bit big when I put it on, but I don't think so. As long as it holds its shape roughly, then I'm not going to be too bothered. And because I've done it in the same needle size, which a lot of patterns do, I'm used to going down 2 sizes for the rib, but I didn't want it to go in. I want it to keep its boxy shape. So I have a choice. I can fold it over myself when I've finished if I want to, or unpick it all, unpick the cast off and do some stocking stitch to fold over and give it some weight. I don't think it's going to need it, but I've got that much to cast off. There's quite a few stitches left, and I've just basically run out of time. Once that's done, once the cast off's done, I can try it on and then decide how long I want my sleeves to be, because I want them to be longish, I think, like 3/4 down to say the beginning of my wrist, not too long. And that's the shoulder, and I've got no shoulder, so I don't think the sleeves are going to be too much work at all. And I've got enough yarn, hopefully, to do the same patterning on the sleeves as I did on the body. But what I might do is do just a very short ribbed cuff. So yeah, so that's my Elton, and I'm really pleased with it. I'm pleased with how light and fluffy it feels, and it hasn't taken too long once I've got my head round it to sit and knit with it. Now the blanket's finished, I put it next to me to knit on at night, but I keep falling asleep. I've just been so tired recently. But we won't talk about negative things. Tired is tired, and I just nod off and snore in front of the telly. There's nothing wrong with that. There's no witnesses. At least I hope not. Yeah, so that's what I've been knitting on. Now, let's talk about incoming. I'll go and get the stuff. Now, you may remember that lovely mouse fabric that I got from Elmhurst Fabrics when they were on Etsy. They've got their own website now. And because I want to do some hand quilting, I went and ordered a quantity of beautiful fabrics from them. But I can't show you, because when my mum saw them, she said, I want some of them, or I'll share it with you. And she's taken them home to cut in half for me, which is very generous of her. So I can't show you, but I will show you when I've got them back. But because I want to do Emma Jones's Quilt As You Go, that she's been talking about recently, and not her idea at all, it's a one method of quilting as you go. I wanted some backing fabric as well, because the Elmhurst fabric has got small things on it that you'd put on the front. And then from a company called Nata Ray on Etsy, and obviously I'll put the link in the notes. I bought some sheeting. It is sheeting. I've only bought half a metre of each. Very good value for money. It's printed, so it's not, you know, woven. It feels like nice quality. It's cotton, and I've bought this pink, if you can see it. I've no idea if all these are going to blow out. A bit chintzy. And this is, I bought these bearing in mind the colours I bought from Elmhurst as well. That's a bit more like garden flowers with the poppies. Oh, big poppies. You know me holding things up. You'll see these again when I start using them. There's a grey version of the chintz as well, which is that one. And I quite like the deep colours in that. I mean, there's plenty. This is something ridiculous, like 240 inches wide. Oh, I don't know, I might be exaggerating there. But I actually wrote to her and I said, have you got that measurement right? She said, yeah. Me asking the person that sells loads of it, you know. I mean, and then finally, this other one, which is just a slightly different colourway to the first one I showed you. Slightly different sort of chintzy display. And I think they're all beautiful. So the idea with the quilt as you go is you have a smaller hexagon, for instance. You've got your wadding. You attach your hexagon to your wadding, and then you have a bigger hexagon that you fold over the small one and you stitch it into place, and then you join your hexagons up. So you quilt as you go, and the wadding's already there. I'll put a link to Emma's excellent channel. Now you see, I don't really like nicey people, and Emma's really nicey nice. But I love watching her because she's so generous with what she does and shows you. She's so careful, and she's just a joy to watch and listen to. And of those of you who say to me, I like listening to your voice and I fall asleep, you know who you are, then Emma would definitely send you bye-byes. And she's a much softer voice than mine. So I'll show you my podcast pile is getting very slippy. It's going to all go over in a minute. I'll go rescue that. And then guess who this is of? Haha. Ange. I ordered some stationery, little note cards that I like to put in. If you bought a bag or you've had de-stash off me, then you would have had a note in with it usually, or a piece of stationery. And I wrote and ordered some. I thought, well, you know, they say stationery shouldn't, they say yarn shouldn't travel alone. So I thought, who am I to disagree? I'll say the same about stationery. And I bought some felted tweed off Ange. She hasn't got too many in stock, so I went and asked her how many she had in this cinnamon colour. I don't know why I'm doing this. Why am I taking this? Which is beautiful. Well, you know what felted tweed is like anyway. It's got this, it's sort of multicoloured anyway. It's heathered. Beautiful. And then I bought 2 of these, but I don't know whether they've got a name on them, and I can't remember what they're called. But the 2 of them go nicely together. And I've got a red, and I'm thinking colour work. Have a go at Fair Isle, maybe. You know. So I've got 7 overall. Now, we know that felted tweed goes a long way, doesn't it? So although I'm a bigger size, it may be that I've got enough there. and I'm thinking vest, because neutral colours, and it'd be nice to have. And I'm going to make blouses, so obviously I've not thought about what fabric I've already own, so that the blouses go with the shirts on. I don't think that far ahead. So yeah, so I'm really pleased about that. So I'm back. I've had a bit of a tidy up and I've checked in my diary about what I've been doing. But first of all, I want to announce the winners of the make-alongs. Now, first of all, we are going to announce the winner of the flat mail. There weren't too many entries in this, which is predictable because not a lot of people like knitting flat. But I had some very, very nice entries, and thank you for everybody who made the effort to enter either on Instagram, by email, or on Ravelry. I put them all into a spreadsheet, and Tom chooses numbers at random. I tell him how many I've got, and if he's not around, then I'll use a random number generator. So the winner for the flat mail is Angia Ship from Ontario in Canada, and she's done a lovely crochet cover up for the beach and a crossbody bag that needed sewing up. So thank you very much for entering. Now, can you let me have your name and address either by email, and my email's down below. Contact me privately on Ravelry or on Instagram. Let me know your address and I will put something in the post to you, a wonky bag and a couple of other things, and I will post them to you over to Canada. And then the Smash the Stash winner is Linda Eincole in Pennsylvania. Hello, Linda. Linda is a regular contributor to my make-alongs, and Linda has put quite a few entries into Smash the Stash in the past. I think been running for about a year. So thank you very much, Linda. Again, don't think I've got your address, have I? Can you contact me and let me know your address, and I will post out to you. Now, in addition to that, I think what I did earlier in the year is I gave a pattern prize to Heather, who is an absolute whiz on the needles. She produces so many things, little, big, small, you name it. An incredible amount of knitting, tops and jumpers and things. Amazing. And they're all different. And I thought I'd do the same again to somebody who's been a regular contributor to my mouths. And although Emma has previously won, Emma in New Zealand, Em's Little Nest, Emma, I'd like to offer you a pattern prize for something that you fancy from Ravelry, or I think I can do it from Lovecrafts as well. I've got an account with them. If you have, entirely up to you. Emma, please get in contact and let me know what pattern you would like. So congratulations, ladies, for all your effort in putting that together and taking the time to enter my make-alongs. So say I put them all, doesn't matter where you enter, I put them all on a spreadsheet and I deal with them, so I can pick easily from them at the end. So I talked about the mails that are coming up. The jump along started and the craft more in 24 I'm doing prep for, and I may well start before the end of the year. There aren't many rules to it, but there's already a thread on Ravelry and the hashtags will be below in the notes if you want to enter either of those. Now, Pip from Woolly Cutchies has started a podcast. Her podcast is up and running. I watched it and it was lovely, and I hope she does more because she's been thinking about it for some time, haven't you, Pip? Pip just appeared at my side at Wonderwall. She said she was going. She couldn't go the previous year, unfortunately. But and she just stood there and she went, "Hello, Anne," and I looked at her and I, "Hello, Pip." I knew who she was. Yeah, and she's done some beautiful knitting. So go and, if you're looking for a new podcaster, go and follow Pip of Woody Coochies, because she range of knitting is really, really nice. And again, she's got grandchildren she knits for, and I'm sure she does another range of crafts which have completely left my head at the moment. And then finally, Carol of Swatch This Space. Carol, I've had actually a Zoom chat with Carol before now, not Carol, a WhatsApp chat. Carol is in, are you in Canada? Oh. So this is what happens when you don't do notes. And Carol has got a nice, lovely podcast. She's on her first, again, I've got it marked down, I've got to watch it, and it's going to be much easier for me to watch now I've finished the blanket, which was huge and in front of me, and I was tending just to listen to things rather than watch them. And Carol also, her daughter, has got a horse rescue sanctuary, and we're going to be introduced to the horses as well as part of the podcast, which is really interesting, and it's very different, isn't it? Okay, I'm going to go now. I hope this isn't too messy. I'm really, really sorry. Oh no, I haven't said what I've been doing, have I? I'm sure my batteries are going to give up on me in a minute. Haven't done very much. I went to, last Friday was my birthday, so it's Wednesday today, and I was 63. I don't want to be any older. Feel my age anyway. But on the Wednesday before that, on the 1st of November, I went to, and I'm sure I've been out with Denise actually. Oh, you know, I can't. I put things in and I don't record them. I think Denise and I met and we had a walk round town, our little town centre. I met my mum off the bus. She came from Bromsgrove into the town centre. It was a nice day, but I couldn't really get any photographs. I wasn't really at the right angle. I tried to take a couple of photographs of our little town centre myself, but I sort of failed miserably. I need to take my selfie stick so I can hold my my phone a little bit easier. But yes, but I went to, on the 1st of November, let's talk about what I do now. I went with my sister-in-law Naomi and my mum to Longbridge, the big M&S there. I ended up ordering a Christmas tree when I got home. We had a nice time, we had a cup of tea, and we had a walk around. You get 3 hours free parking, and we just about made it within about 10 minutes. Didn't go down to the big Sainsbury's this time, but it was nice. I had a little look at some of the Christmas stuff they've got in as well, and we had a nice time. And then that evening, we had tenor evening, which is always the first Wednesday in the month, and I had to go because it was my birthday. Tom dropped me off and he picked me up this time, and we found somewhere easier to park so I could get in the car easier on the passenger side, because I drank 2/3 of a bottle of wine, which is quite a bit for me. But we had a lovely evening, and I had a Massaman cauliflower curry, and that was really nice. He said, do you want to add a chicken breast to it? I said no, because I knew it'd be enough food anyway. But it was quite a dry curry. It had a raita with it, and it had like a green oil, which was surprisingly spicy. I was expecting it to be herby. And it had butter beans and some onions and a little bit of flatbread rather than a naan bread. And then I had their apple tart for pud, and I really enjoyed both of them. I had a lovely evening. My friend's getting her hip done next week, and I'm sure she's looking forward to that because she's been in agony. She was on crutches when we saw her this time. She had 1 crutch with her last time, and she got 2 crutches with her this time. But 2 crutches I think is always better anyway, because you surely get better support if you're supporting yourself on both sides. And then Friday was my birthday, and didn't do anything. Tom made me a cake, and he went and got us fish and chips from the chippy, which we haven't had for about before COVID. We're not really big takeaway people. Tom always says, you know, why should I pay an extortionate amount of money when I can cook? Which he can. He's a very good cook. So we that was good, but ate too much food. I had lots of lovely things, and I had lots of cards, so that was great. And thank you to everybody who wished me well, that had remembered it was my birthday, because I didn't announce it at the time. Then on the Saturday, the day after, Mum came over and had a piece of the cake. And then Denise turned up because she'd forgotten it was my birthday. She was in a National Trust property in the Cotswolds with her husband on the Friday. And she said, her husband said, oh, look at that card. This is you and Anne. And she went, oh no, what's the date? And he went, 3rd. She went, oh, it's Anne's birthday. Oh, I'm so sorry. And she turned up and she had cake as well and ended up chatting. She said, I'm only popping in. I said, no, come in, go on. Gave her a cup of tea or a cup of coffee and plied her with cake. So that was nice, and she had a chat to my mum. And so, yeah, it was a good weekend. But I was so tired after going out twice on Wednesday. On the Thursday, I basically had to get Tom to dress me because I was just achy and tired. But, you know, you've got to push yourself. If I don't do anything, I'll just get worse and I'm going to stop moaning. So I just noticed a thread. Oh, what am I wearing? We'll finish on that. I am wearing my Amma jumper, AMA, by Maddie Harvey, who I haven't seen around for ages, but it may be that I've stopped following her for some reason. I do have a cult every now and again on people that I follow different places, because it gets mad. You keep adding and not subtracting. This is a lovely, simple top-down jumper with a very effective, quite easy to knit knot design around the neck, and on the arms as well. And I added, because I like the lime green with the grey, I added a bit more colour on the cuffs than the pattern does. I'm not sure whether there is any colour on the cuffs. I can't remember. This is BFL in Gotland, I think, but it does pilt a bit, and it's from Triskelion. It's a double knitting pattern. I don't think I'd make it again, only because it's quite distinctive and I've got lots and lots of other patterns to make, but I'd recommend the pattern. It's very nice and it fits me and I like wearing it. And I've got to have something I can take off easily so I can get stabbed in both arms in a bit. I'm sorry it's been so rushed. I'm hoping that when I watch it through I won't have to record it again. I will see you in a fortnight's time. You take care, look after yourselves. If you've got anything to say, questions, whatever, comments, put them down below, like many of you do, or email me, or Ravelry, Instagram, you name it. Thank you so much for everybody being so nice. I will see you, and on that cheesy statement, I'm going to leave you and go and get ready to go out. You take care. I'll see you soon.